don't think people actually understand or even appreciate just how detrimental chlamydia can be to the body.
Well, 1 in 10 young people have it. So if you've got 20 people in a room, 2 people have it.
Wow.
Now, for those 2 people, if they have a partner, that's 4 people.
Yeah.
So you just count it by 2, by 2, by 2,
and then, it just goes on
and it goes on and on. And people may
Mm-hmm.
finish one relationship and go to the next. If you didn't know, if you're part of the 70% of women there that you didn't know you had a chlamydia, you're taking it to the next relationship, unintentionally.
Yeah, of course.
So it's a matter of making sure that you are checking your sexual health
yourself
on a regular
well.
basis.
I mean, I think the most important point here is that even though, as you've said, these symptoms can display, chlamydia is a silent epidemic, which means that most of the time, or in a lot of cases, there are absolutely none of these symptoms.
Absolutely.
That's very worrying.
You can carry it for 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, because if you never get yourself checked out for chlamydia, you will not know you have it.
And is it something that will just stay with you until it's treated, or will it subside?
No, it will stay with you till it's, because it's a bacteria, and then it feeds off the warmth of your
body.
Yeah, and so that it just multiplies. And 1 in 10 young people have it, so that's a very high proportion of
really
young
scary.
people between that age range that have the chlamydia. And you can get it through sex, sharing sex toys. Chlamydia lives.
So it can live outside of the body as well?
No, it can't live outside of the body. It stays in the body. So it's at the back of the neck.
Right.
It's around the anus. It's in your system. So these are the areas in which you can find chlamydia, because it needs that warmth to be able to sort of survive. Outside the body, it doesn't survive very well.
Right.
Yeah, or it doesn't survive for a long period.
Very, very concerning. And I think another thing that is very concerning as well is the fact that you mentioned it can reside in your throat as well, which you kind of think and I mean, a lot of people are probably guilty of this same naivety. A sexually transmitted disease would only affect your sexual organs. So when you talk about it traveling to your throat, to your eyes, this is a serious disease.
And another category of people who pass chlamydia on are pregnant women, pass it on to the baby. So that's another person that, if let's say a woman is chlamydia positive and she's pregnant, she'll pass it on to the baby.
And I'm assuming that if you pass an infection such as chlamydia to a baby, then you're kind of almost wrecking their sexual organs before they even.
Well, the baby can get pneumonia, and the baby can get conjunctivitis. So that's an extra trip that you're going to make to a special care baby unit. It causes stress. These are all things that really necessarily you shouldn't have to sort of go through. So it's a matter of getting checked. And the fact that you're pregnant, you've had unprotected sex.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's move on.
Sure.
Okay, you kind of touched on this actually. The causes, as you said, unprotected.
It's unprotected. You have vaginal sex, anal sex, or oral sex.
Right. So again, that would be, if it was oral sex, for example, that would be instantly in the mouth. Would that then could that spread from the mouth to the sexual organs?
Yes.
Right. So it can work either way.
Yeah.
Okay. Just trying to make it clear for people. Sure. I think another sort of myth, if you like, a lot of people seem to think that, oral sex, you can't catch anything. There's that kind of, okay, you can only catch certain diseases through intercourse.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people would assume or presume that you can catch, an STI through oral.
You can. Yeah.
So is it equally as risky, or?
Oh yes, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sex, so yes, it's equally as risky. So it's a matter of protecting yourself.
Okay. And how about diagnosing chlamydia?
Okay, the test is very, very simple, and it's free. It's a simple urine test. You pee in a pot, and that's about it. It's so painless, and it's very easy. Right. So we're trying to make everything sort of quite simple, because people don't like invasive tests. So, it's pee in a pot, get it analysed, see whether you have it or not, and you get treated.
Now, I understand, because I did a little bit of research beforehand. Now, I understand this wasn't always the way they tested for chlamydia.
Well, this wasn't always the way they tested in the GUM clinics, because, they used to use swabs to this thing. And sometimes, even now, they have to use swabs if they have to do further investigation. Right. But if you just want to come and have a very quick chlamydia test, it's actually a urine sample.
And how accurate is the chlamydia test, the urine chlamydia test?
It's 99.9% accurate.
Right. So as accurate as you could probably get. And I think, again, it's important to sort of drive home the fact that early diagnosis and treatment can obviously prevent further complications down the line.
It's always good to get yourself checked out early, so that if you do have it, then you get it treated.
What about smear tests? If you were to have like a smear test, would that detect chlamydia, or is it a completely because isn't that a swab of the cervix?
Yes, and it depends on how they take because you can actually take a chlamydia test from the cervix.
Yeah,
because it lives around the cervix as well. Yeah.
So if you were, I mean, obviously, you shouldn't wait till you have a smear test because there's time in between. But would that also detect?
No, because they're looking for something else other than chlamydia. Unless they actually request that this smear test that is going, can you check it for X
that as well?
And this thing. So no, a smear test will just be the smear test looking at the cells and this thing. But if they then take it for chlamydia, they'll take it because the different preparations to analyze different things.
Different tests. Yeah. Okay, but maybe I don't know. Sorry, I'm just randomly speaking here because I mean I'm sure, because I personally don't have much of an understanding of chlamydia. I mean, I know it's highly contagious, so I guess I'm speaking for everybody. So if you were to have, I don't know, a smear test and you had irregular cells, for example, would that then maybe flag up the need for a chlamydia test or a need for something else?
Well, as that's not my area of expertise, I don't really know, because I've never done a smear test before, so I don't really know. Yeah, so that's something that you just have to ask a GP or a doctor.
Yeah, no, I was just curious because I think, when it comes to smear tests, that's quite invasive, so you would imagine that they kind of,
do everything
get to it. Yeah, you might as well, without getting too crude, Florence.
Absolutely.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so when to get tested? How often would you recommend?
Okay, if you have a regular steady partner, I would say once a year.
Right.
Even though you're going steady, at the end of the day, you're only responsible for your own sexual health and not anybody else's. So it's about informing yourself. Every time you change a partner, we actually recommend that you actually have a chlamydia screening test.
Right.
Yeah. So every time you change partner, and chlamydia screening testing right now, we've made it very accessible in the community, so you can get it done at your GP, selected pharmacists in Brent, the family planning clinics at Wembley Centre for Health and Care and Wilson Centre for Health and Care, and at selected barbers and hairdressers also in Brent as well. So
how would one kind of just go into perhaps a barber and say, I'm here for a chlamydia test?
We have trained them, so when they see people within the age range, they will sort of prompt you and ask you if you want one done. So
it'd be like just encourage them to do it.
Yes.
And is it sort of a test that's done and then you send it off, or how would you then get the results?
Okay, this particular testing that we're doing right now is a postal kit. So it comes in with the form, the bottle, and the envelope. So you fill out the form, put your details on it. You put your details on the bottle as well, which is very important.
Right.
You put it in the envelope that is provided, and you literally put it through the Red Royal Mail letterbox, and it goes off. And hopefully within 72 hours, you get a text message.
All right.
We're very modern.
Wow.
You get a text message.
Very up to date.
Absolutely, dear. Text message to say that you either have it or you don't.
Wow.
And chlamydia, as I haven't said before, is actually a treatable infection as well. So that is the plus side to it. It's a treatable sexually transmitted infection, easily treated with antibiotics.
Brilliant. Florence, I'm just going to stop you there.
Sure.
We are going to jump into a quick ad break.
Okay.
If you're listening and if you have anything you want to add, any questions for Florence, please email studio@bangradio.fm. That's studio@bangradio.fm, or text the word bang followed by your message to 88882. That's bang followed by your message to 88882. We'll be back in a mo.
You are listening to Bang